I do believe like women like to say things that make them feel good, especially when it comes to kids, you know. Uh, um, but I do believe to some degree, like I don't think children are a blessing or a curse. They just exist. Because there's a lot of people walking around in this world today that we all know are not blessings to anyone. You know what I'm saying? So how can you call children a blessing? Yeah. Um, but then I always believe, I always believe, no one sees through a woman's bullshit better than a woman. You know what I mean? That's why that's why anytime I went to family court, I'd always look for a female judge. You know what I'm saying? No matter what. And it's funny, these quotes and these sayings, people, they make sense and they sound good and they're comforting and relieving. You know what I mean? But are they do they really do they only have credence when you give it that credence. They only have credit when you give it credit. You only believe it's only true when you choose it to be true, when you believe in it. You know what I mean? If you don't believe in it, then it ain't true. And this is where a lot of the quote unquote deadbeat dads are. A man can only spread himself but so thin, and to take care of, he has to choose whether he wants to take care of his kids and put up with that woman's bullshit, or just be over here and kick his feet up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and a lot of what I notice a lot of times is a lot of these quote unquote stepfathers, they're not really participant with the kids. You know what I'm saying? They're just more so like, I'm here for her. I'm just along for the ride. And it's hard to be a man in a household like that. You know what I mean? It's hard. Another reason I say stepfatherhood is a sham, because it's hard to feel like a man in a household where mama has the last say so. It's hard to feel like a man around kids. It's hard to feel like a father around kids you can't whoop. You know what I mean? Like it's all the odds are against you. Like, and it's subtracting everything from you but adding none to you. It's just and what do you get in the end? You mean to tell me you really gonna put those kids on your will? Those kids that ain't yours, you gonna put them on your will? Really? That's what you gonna do? You gonna put them as beneficiaries on all your assets and your insurances? Would you really? That's what you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's taking away everything from you and giving nothing back. What, it makes you feel like a man? Like, shut up, dummy. Stupid. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, no, nothing, none of that matters. But I digress. Proximity and ease. It is emotionally and logistically easier to parent a child who lives in the same house. A father may provide for his new partner's children because he sees the immediate impact of his efforts. And see, there it is. It makes more sense. It's more economic. You know what I'm saying? He could pay child support and not know what the hell she's doing with the child support. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, I gave you money for this. Why the kids ain't got this and that? And she's like, but you ain't give me enough. Like, what is enough? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Y'all hungry? Here's some food. Boom, right there. I see where my money's going. Riding the bike and all of that. Yeah. Listen, there ain't nothing can change your DNA. You know what I'm saying? People can do what they want. People can say what they want, but that child is still your child. That's one thing I always stood on too. That's one thing I always had to hang my hat on. I don't care what anyone says. He's still my child. That child is still my child. I'm still their father. None can change that. And so, yeah, his first this and his first that. Those are memories, whether you miss them or not. I make my memories. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing I always say. I take my flowers. I make my memories and I take my flowers. So it's up to that father to be more. It's up to that father to be proactive. But I wanted to take time in this episode to excavate the topic of deadbeat dads. Let's talk about it. And so in discussing this topic, I don't want to just discuss the preparedness of children, but I also want to discuss the burden of children. Why are deadbeat dads deadbeats? Because the term is pretty subjective. Yeah, my kids weren't living with me, but I was always around. If not every other day, at least a few times a week, something. I was there. You know what I'm saying? I followed them across the country. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was always around. You know what I mean? And so the term deadbeat is very subjective. And another thing that made me wanted to talk about is, like, are all deadbeats broke? You know what I'm saying? Or are they living lavish? Like, what are the deadbeats out here really doing? What are they doing with their lives? Yeah. So are they broke, or are they enjoying life? And if they're enjoying life, that's assuming that the mother isn't. So if the mother's not enjoying life, are children really a blessing? Because she's the one with the kids, right? She has the blessing. And so if the quote unquote deadbeat dad is out here balling and living lavish, and he's better off without the kids,
if he's better off, how can you really call him a deadbeat? You know what I'm saying? Because then that means the kid should be with him. If he's balling out and living lavish, he must not be that much of a deadbeat, right? But I guess he just refuses to give his time, energy, and money to his children. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that. So let's look at, I want to talk about the financial reality. And I want to talk about the bitter moms out there. You know what I mean? Because like I said, that name can just be stamped on you and just thrown at you. You know what I mean? Unwarrantedly. It's like undeservedly. You know what I mean? So then what is the motivation behind calling somebody that, right? So I want to get into that. I want to talk about serial fatherhood. That's a good one. And then I want to excavate being better off without the kids. And then I want to talk about and then at the very end, I want to talk about the 4 types of non-custodial fathers. Not the 4 types of deadbeats. The 4 types of non-custodial fathers. We're gonna get into this. I don't know anybody who is discussing these topics the way I am, on the level that I'm discussing them. Like, you getting good food over here. Like I hope you're appreciative. You know what I'm saying? All right, so the popular image of a father living a lavish, frivolous lifestyle while ignoring child support is statistically the exception rather than the rule. Systemic poverty. Research from the Urban Institute and the ACF show that a vast majority of unpaid child support is owed by fathers earning less than 10 grand a year. Less than 10 grand a year, that's like, wow, that's like way below the poverty line. You know what I'm saying? That's like I think teenagers make more than that working at a fast food joint. These men often face barriers like low education, disability, or a history of incarceration. That's a thing. The non-poor exception. There is a segment of fathers who have the means but willfully evade payment. Roughly 44% of non-poor, non-custodial fathers pay in full. The remainder may withhold funds as a form of a power play or out of resentment toward the custodial parent. Yeah, you know, and those kind of shaky situations go a little deeper than just the money. You know what I mean? They go a little deeper than the money, because what Jay-Z say, nobody wins when the family feuds, right? So you withholding the payment, like who's hurting? You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, regardless of her getting her hair and nails done, she still need the money. You know what I'm saying? She got the kids, she still need the money. You know? So that's the financial reality. Let's look at the subjectivity and the bitter mom narrative. The term deadbeat dad is frequently weaponized in high conflict separations. While many custodial mothers use the term out of genuine financial desperation, it is also used subjectively in the following ways. So let's get it. So in what ways is the term deadbeat dad thrown at a man? Let's go. Emotional versus financial failure. A mother may label a father a deadbeat because he is emotionally inconsistent or late to visits, even if he's paying support. Conversely, a father who pays but never shows up is also given the label. So it's like, you damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, what do you really want? Do you want me to pay the child support, or you want me to show up? Like,